Welcome you all to the video lecture of Computer Organization and Microprocessor. So in the previous video lecture, we saw regarding to the top topic, the functional units of a computer. So now we are going to see about the topic related to the top, the basic operational concept in the processor. So in the previous video, the function units of computer with respect to the evolution of microprocessor and the basic processor architecture we saw. Now we are going to discuss about the topic related to that of basic operational concept. So here in this basic operational concept, the six things are the major things going to be get involved over in this basic operational concept. So the first thing is the fetch. So before entering into this, we need to keep a thought that how this processor get execute over an instruction. This is the major thing has been get involved over in this basic operational concept, which means that how every program that will run, whether just for an example in a Microsoft Word or a Google Chrome or a WhatsApp, even in a simple calculator, just think how it is get executed with the help of a processor using this following sequences such as this fetch, decode, and this write back option and execute cycle system. So according to these basic six operational concepts, we are going to see how the instruction get been executed over into the processor and how a processor will fetch and execute over with respect to the instruction step by step. The first step is what? The fetch. Here this fetch will says us to that the processor automatically fetches the instruction from where. So in the previous video we saw the processor will get interlinked with the main memory. So automatically the processor fetches the instruction from where? This main memory. So simply we can get observe that the fetch will do what? The processor fetches the instruction from where? From the main memory. According to this mentioned thing, the PC to MAR, so memory address register and program counter. Here this it will says us what means. Here this program conductor counter will has what? It will has the address of the next instruction, while the MAR says us what means the memory address register. Here this memory address register stores us the address of what? The memory location that the central processing unit want to access this. So this is the things is get over involved in the fetch product, which means that just for an example, if the program counter contains an address of named 2000, so this then the processor copy this address to where means this MAR. So this address will be get copy over to the MAR. So now the automatically the memory understand that the processor is what? Requesting the instruction stored in the address of 2000. So now we can able to get know that the memory will understand the processor is requesting the instruction stored at the address 2000. So automatically the memory senses the instruction to that of where? IR, instruction register. So finally the program counter is will be get incremented by 4, because in a 32-bit processor each instruction occupies how many bytes? 4 bytes. So this is the things is will the fetch do. Again I am repeating. So here this fetch will do the things is such as the processor fetches the instruction from where? Memory. So automatically now we are going to get considered over this PC to MAR, program counter to the memory address register. So in the previous video also we saw that the program counter will have the content of address of the next instruction, whereas the MAR, memory address register, will store the address of the memory location where the central processing unit want to be get access over to this. So this program counter, which means that this fetch will function the copying of the address into where? Memory address register. So automatically the memory understand that the processor is requesting an instruction stored in a particular address. Here we have used the address such as 2000. So automatically it will get the memory of the address 2000. So which means the 2000 mentioned address memory will be get stored over into the top instruction, and automatically it will be get executed. So the next thing is the decode. Here this decode will do the process of the following sayings such as the once the instruction is available in where IR instruction register, the control unit automatically reads and interrupts it. So simply we can determine that the control unit will do the basic functionality such as what the operation should be performed, which register are to be involved, is the data is required from where memory or not. So now we can consider an example of having the instruction add R1, R2 and R3. So with respect to this, here the control unit will understand that it needs us to perform an addition operation using what the processor of ALU, arithmetic logic unit. Let's for an example, in our regular class itself we have discussed adding of two numbers, just for an example 25 and 30 we can get add. We just before solving it, what we just do, we just read and understand the question. So similarly thing has been done in the processor. Here this processor will understand what the instruction before it could be executing it. So the next thing is the fetch operand. Here this fetch operand says to the top, an operand is simply the data required to be performed over to the operations. So just for an example, here I have mentioning thing C is equal to A plus B. Here the processor now fetches the value of what A and B from where, from memory. It will fetches the things is what has been stored in the A and B. After fetching the values from A and B from memory, it automatically loads into a register. So just for an example, here I am giving a value of 20 for A and value of 30 for B. Here these values are fetched from where? Memory, before performing into the addition. So the next thing is the execute, which means that the fourth step is the execute. Here this fourth step execute will perform the functionality of arithmetic logic unit, which means here the operand functionality will be get functioned over to this. Just for an example, here 20 plus 30 has been given as an example, means here this addition functionality will be get executed, and these results is temporarily stored in a register only, general purpose register only. These temporary things has been stored. So the next is the write back option. Here this write back option which perform the functionality of after the calculation is completed, the processor stores the result back where, back to the memory if it is required. If not it required, it does not store back to the things into the memory. Just for an example, consider the previous example, C is equal to A plus B. Here the results has C equal to A plus B. In the execute we have mentioned the value for A equal to 20 and B is equal to 30. So the automatic result is what, 50. So here this 50 has been stored into the memory location C is equal to A plus B. So this C will have the value of 50. So that thing has been mentioned over in this write back. So the interrupt check. Here the final thing we are going to discuss in this basic operation concept is the interrupt check. Here this interrupt check is not performed only at the last, it will perform in the middle of the functionality, which means that middle of the operational things. Here this interrupt check will deals us to the explanation of high priority task. If suppose while we are doing the functionality of fetch operand C is equal to A plus B, here a high priority interruption has been involved, means after completing those high priority things as only the remaining fetch operand execute and write back functionality will be performed. So after completing that instruction, the process checker whether the high priority request has been arrived. If an interrupt occur, means automatically the processor saves the current program status and executes the interrupt service routine, which means that ISR. This ISR is a major thing involved in this interrupt check, which means that interrupt service routine, and returns to the original program after continues the executions. So from this video lecture we can able to get overview regarding to the basic operational concept in a processor, which means how a processor which fetch the instruction and executes those instructions step by step. So 6 major things has been get involved over here, such as fetch, decode, fetch operand, execute, write back and interrupt check. Thank you.